When you build a community podcast with a specific audience in mind, and you build it consistently over 12 months, you just not accumulate listeners. You build a room of people who have self-selected around a specific problem, a specific aspiration, and a specific trust in your ability to bridge the two. Regardless of what any employer decides to do with your title, your corporate role gave you your expertise. Your podcast gives you that expertise in every room. And the room, when it's the right room, will be filled with the right people, is worth more than any salary you have ever been paid. All right. I want to introduce you to a framework today that I call, what would your professional life look like if staying in your corporate role was a choice you made every morning? And it's not a financial obligation you woke up to. What would change about how you show up in meetings? How would you handle difficult conversations with leadership? How would you respond when the org chart shifts? The answer to those questions is optionality. Stay with me here. And optionality is not something you get by performing better in your corporate role. It is something you build in the margins of it, in the small spaces. So today I'm going to show you exactly how the podcast game becomes the engine of that, right? So what is Corpreneur Optionality System? What is that? So this is a 5-stage framework that takes a corporate leader, right, from individual expert to a leveraged authority in whatever industry you're in. So while they're still employed, while you're still performing and still building inside your company, and the 5 stages are authority, advisory, digital offers, and leverage, right? I might have missed one, but they compound over time, and where each stage builds the infrastructure for the next one. So stage 1 is the podcast. So that's one. Okay. This is the foundation. This is where you make your expertise known, your thinking discoverable, and your name searchable by the market that needs to know what you do and who you are. Now, stage 2 is the authority. So this is what the podcast creates over time: a documented, credible, public, accessible body of work that signals to the market that you are the person to talk to about a specific problem. Stage 3 is advisory, right? This is where the authority converts into paid conversations, consulting engagements, retainer fees, advisory board seats. These are the conversations that start because someone found your podcast, listened to about 3 episodes, and thought, hey, quick break. Everything we've been talking about in this episode, this is exactly what comes up when corporate leaders take the corporate income audit. It's a free 5-minute diagnostic I built specifically for directors, VPs, and senior professionals who know they have more to offer than what their salary reflects, but haven't built anything outside their role. So the audit shows you where you are on the corpreneur journey right now. So your expertise score, your leverage gaps, and the specific stage you're in, from trapped expert all the way to leveraged corpreneur. So most people who take it tell me it's the first time they've seen everything in their situation mapped out clearly. Link is in the show notes. Take it during the episode and we'll keep going when you get back. I need to talk to this person. And then stage 4 is digital offers. So this is where the audience that has been building around your podcast becomes the buyer for a course, a cohort, a workshop, or a community that scales your expertise beyond the one-on-one engagements. That's what you want, though. And then stage 5 is leverage. This is the outcome of all 4 stages functioning at the same time. So a professional life is where your income is not entirely dependent on one employer, and your expertise is generating revenue in multiple channels. And the choice to stay or leave your corporate role is genuinely yours to make. So, and now I want to talk about why the podcast stage 1 and 3 are not the same, right? So I want to address this mistake. I see a lot of corporate leaders make this when they try to build outside their company. They try to start at stage 3, right? And they decide that they want to consult or advise and then go directly to pitching their services to the network without any platform behind them. They don't have any resume. Nobody, you're not searchable. And what happens in the network does not convert. You're like, man, why aren't these people booking with me? That because the network needs context. They need proof. They need evidence. It needs to see your thinking documented in a way that builds trust because it just needs time, right? And so people can know you, like you, and trust you. And this creates evidence. It builds trust over time and it builds it at scale before you ever get on a call. So when you skip stage 1 and go to stage 3, you are trying to close before you have nurtured your audience. And in consulting, unheard trust does not close. The podcast earns the trust first. The advisory conversation comes second. That sequence is a non-negotiable. So if you want sustainable consulting income rather than a one-off engagement or a one-off consulting situation, then you need to build it over time. So each stage compounds on each other. They build on each other. I want to show you how when you do this consistently, it's going to work in your favor. So your podcast creates the authority. We know that. And that authority is what makes a potential advisory client feel confident enough to pay you, let's say $20,000, $5,000 before they have even seen your work. So your advisory work creates a case study. So those are the results you want to make your digital offer credible with. Right? So if someone has worked with you one-on-one and they've seen the results from that, that's how you can build your cohorts or your community off of. And then you can even build a community off of that too, right? Off of your framework, off of your thinking, and the community with the most qualified, like filtered, I would say, people that are looking for those results. It could be your peers, your network, that is credible, and you can leverage that, right? So each stage makes the next one easier and more profitable. And it all traces back to episode 1 of your podcast. This is where the compounding clock starts. It starts at 1, skip a step, and it never stops once it starts running. Well, I want to talk about the community because this is a game changer. I want to spend some time really like digging into this, and this is a underestimated system. So the community, when you build a community podcast with a specific audience in mind, and you build it consistently over 12 months, you just not accumulate listeners. You build a room of people who have self-selected around a specific problem, a specific aspiration, and a specific trust in your ability to bridge the two. That room is your consulting pipeline. That room is your digital offer launch list. That room is your advisory referral network. That room is the one thing that makes your business sustainable, regardless of what any employer decides to do with your title. Your corporate role gave you your expertise. Your podcast gives you that expertise in every room. And the room, when it's the right room, will be filled with the right people, is worth more than any salary you have ever been paid. Okay. Let's talk about corporate America because I just did a live where I share how I got my first gig. That's a different episode. But I want to share some insight with you on, I think every corporate leader listening needs to sit with right now, no matter if you're C-suite, middle management. You've been solving problems for organizations at scale for years. You know what the budget conversations sound like. You know what the board presentation feels like. You know what it takes to cross-functionally collaborate with different teams. You know how to get stuff done. And that knowledge, that precise, earned, battle-tested knowledge is exactly what a founder, a mid-market CEO, or a growing company needs from an advisor. And they are not looking for someone who read a book about organization in college. They are looking for someone who has lived it, right? Lived inside it for 15 years, 10 years, 5 years. That's what they're looking for, right? You guys know where the landmines are, right? You know where to step. You know how to pivot. That's you. The podcast is just the mechanism that lets them know that you exist before they need you. And when they need you, they will need someone like you, trust me, but you will have a resume of episodes and proof. That's what a podcast does, right? You can view it as the current resume, right? It's just proof, right? So if you're ready for optionality in your life, you want to build a podcast to authority to advisory to digital offers to leverage, each stage compounds before the next one, right? This is going to bring you closer to that optionality that you want, so you don't have to clock in if you don't want to, right? So if you guys want to start tapping in, if you want to see where you're at, if you want to see if we're a good fit, hit the link in the show notes, in the description, and let's hop on a quick call. All right, I'll see you guys on the next one.